Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you've ever spent hours, literally hours, meticulously highlighting textbooks until your hand cramps up, only to open those notes right before an exam and feel completely and utterly lost, yeah, this explainer is exactly for you. Today, we've got one clear goal. We're going to transform you from a passive note taker into an active, super confident learner. We're breaking down exactly how to make notes that actually make sense when you come back to revise them. Let's get into it. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We're covering the note-taking mistake, rules for better notes, 3 proven note methods, and finally, how to actually revise. Okay, part 1, the note-taking mistake. Be honest with me for a second. Have you ever made pages and pages of notes only to feel totally lost right before the exam? It's the absolute worst, right? You put in the time, you're staring at this massive pile of highlighters at 2 a.m., and you really feel like you're studying hard. But then, when it's time to actually retrieve that information, blank. Utterly blank. It's so frustrating to study that hard and retain absolutely nothing. But hey, good news. This isn't a memory problem. It's just a method problem. You see, most students make this one massive, fatal mistake. They just copy the textbook, word for word, page after painstaking page. And when you do that, you're basically just acting as a human photocopier. It's a robotic, completely thoughtless task. You're just moving words from a printed page onto a blank page, and the information never actually processes inside your brain. So there's this huge difference between passive copying and active learning. Passive copying leaves you with these massive, intimidating blocks of text that are virtually impossible to revise. Honestly, it's exhausting just looking at them. Active learning, on the other hand, is entirely about using your own words and keeping things incredibly concise. This is the ultimate mindset shift we have to make today. We are ditching passive copying and going all in on active learning. Which brings us to part 2, rules for better notes. According to the data, there are 3 simple golden rules you've got to follow to fix this. Step 1, keep it short. Step 2, use your own words. And step 3, add visuals. It's pretty straightforward. If your notes don't pass these 3 fundamental checks, they're just not going to serve you well when exam season actually hits. So let's break each of these down really quick so you know exactly how to use them. All right, so the crucial point for keeping it short is the rule of 1. You have to write only the most important points. For instance, if you're reading a textbook paragraph that has 5 full sentences, your absolute goal is to condense that entire paragraph into just 1 single sentence. You do this by ruthlessly focusing on keywords instead of writing out complete grammatically perfect sentences. Think of it like boiling down a sauce to intensify the flavor. Less is absolutely more here. The second rule, use your own words. Why is this so vital? Well, when you translate concepts into your personal vocabulary, you literally force your brain to understand the material. Simply put, if you can't explain it in your own words, you don't really know it yet. Plus, when you come back to revise these notes weeks later, the material feels delightfully familiar. It feels like you're reading your own thoughts, because you are. It's so much easier to understand than some dense, intimidating textbook. The third rule is adding visuals. Wherever you possibly can, draw a small diagram, an arrow connecting 2 ideas, or just a really simple chart. The science behind this is actually super fascinating. The picture superiority effect proves our brains process images up to 60,000 times faster than text. Crazy, right? And hey, don't worry if you're not an artist. Even a really rough, quick, hand-drawn sketch is going to dramatically increase your recall speed. It breaks up the monotony of all those words and gives your visual memory a really powerful anchor. Moving right along to section 3, 3 proven note methods. Our first framework is the famously effective Cornell Notes method. Here, you basically divide your page into dedicated functional zones. You put your main notes on the right, your keywords or questions on the left, and a brief 2-line summary at the very bottom. This specific structure is an absolute game changer for science topics, where you've got core concepts, specific questions, and overarching summaries that you need to remember all at once. The second proven method is the mind map. For this one, you just place your main topic right in the center of the page and branch out with connected subtopics. It's kind of like creating a spider web of knowledge. It's an incredibly powerful way to map out relationships between facts. So, say you're studying the human body or complex ecosystems. A mind map lets you visually see exactly how every single isolated piece of information connects to the big picture. The third method is the bullet and highlight approach, and it is exactly what it sounds like. You write short, punchy bullet points, and then you use color to selectively highlight specific types of information. You know, things like formulas, definitions, and important dates. this simple color-coded approach is incredibly effective for subjects like math, or honestly for those panic-inducing moments right before an exam where you just need to rapidly scan a page for hard facts and equations without reading a single full paragraph. And finally, Section 4, how to actually revise. Okay, to conquer this psychological phenomenon known as the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, you need a highly specific timeline. When you hit 0 hours, meaning you just finished making your notes, your job isn't done yet. To lock that information into your long-term memory, you need to conduct your initial review within 24 hours. Then, exactly 1 week later, revise them again even if it's just for 10 short minutes. This psychological principle of spaced repetition is exactly what solidifies that knowledge so it doesn't just vanish on test day. Now, when you do review, whatever you do, don't just stare blankly at the page. We want to use a principle called active recall. You need a self-quiz strategy. For example, if you chose the Cornell method, literally cover the right side of your notes with your hand. Then, look only at the questions and keywords in the left column to test your memory. See if you can pull those main concepts out of your brain. This just proves that good notes are dynamic tools for self-testing. They aren't just static text for passive reading. I want to correct a final, really common misconception before we wrap up today. Please, do not waste your precious time endlessly rewriting your notes every single time you sit down to study. It is a massive drain on your time and your cognitive energy. Instead, do simply reread and actively recall the information. Test yourself. Retrieval practice is what actually builds strong neural pathways, not painfully writing out the exact same sentence over and over again. So which of these 3 methods, Cornell, mind maps, or the bullet and highlight method, are you going to try for your very next chapter? Remember, stop being a human photocopier and start actively engaging with your material. Put one of these into practice today. But this does leave us with a much larger question to ponder. If just changing the sheer way you write things down can fundamentally alter how your brain stores information, what other outdated study habits are secretly holding your true potential back?